Hello. Today I want to share my experience as an extraterrestrial contactee. I had a contact with Pleiadian extraterrestrials. It wasn't a contact in a usual form. It happened when I was sleeping at night, and this is actually one of the more usual form of contact, which is not so commonly acknowledged. So in 1988, I was living in my parents' house. I was sleeping at night and I saw a dream. But the problem is that the dream, I forgot about this dream for almost 30 years. And this dream came back to me in 2019. Piece by piece, I was restoring my dream. And in few months, I found out what happened. So my contact with my astral body was traveling at night. And how it happened. I was sleeping and suddenly in my dream, so-called dream, I saw two men with white hair, big blue eyes, looking at me from the far away. And they are dressed in something silverish, white silverish clothes. And the first idea was, are they astronauts? This came to my mind. There was association with astronauts. I remember that. And they asked me telepathically, are you going with us? And since I don't know who are these men, how should I answer? But I felt a huge pressure on my chest. And actually, I stopped breathing for a while. I thought I'm suffocating. And eventually, I don't remember after that what happened, but part of the dream is that my body evaporates and goes up. My body evaporates like a steam. It goes up to the ceilings, and the ceiling and the body comes through the ceilings. My evaporated particles come through the ceiling, through the roof, and then my body particles connect back together, and I am flying. I'm flying at night over the roof, over the nature forest, and I remember the lake with ducks. I'm sure the ducks would not go for the lake at night, but this is what I remember. And then I landed on the spaceships of Pleiadians. I'm not sure 100%. It could be also Andromedans, because they look Nordic. The same Andromedans or Pleiadians, they could look the same. So I don't know, were they Pleiadians or Andromedans? But I landed on the spaceships, and they showed me the spaceship without talking to me. I remember they look at me and they dress in white clothes. Some of them long white clothes, some of them pants, white pants and white shirts, but they're silverish. They have silverish color of the clothes, and the hair all white. It's like white hair. This is long hair. Women and men have long hair. And when I looked at them there at the spaceship, their faces were blended. They didn't want me to show their facial features, but they all were looking at me. There were few men and women sitting at the small white tables and white chairs, but the walls were black. So looking at the walls, I could see white chairs, white round white small tables, and they were sitting at these tables and crossing the legs under the tables. They were tall people, and their bodies were very good built, built very, very beautifully. And And I remember a few of them were looking at me sitting on sort of like sofa in this direction, and the others were looking from this direction because they were sitting at the table. So they let me go around the tables and look. My astral body was traveling and walking around these tables. That's what I remember. Remember that I told you when they visited me at the first, they invited me. At that time, I saw their faces. And this was two young men. They looked at a 20-year-old, but I know they could be 10,000-year-old man that look like 20-year-old, because I have experience with the books of William Mills Tompkins, Selected by Extraterrestrials, and he talks that these people can look to that 20-year-old, but they could be 4,000-year-old, 10,000-year-old people. Andromedans or Pleiadians and other Arcturians, Alpha Centaurus people, and people from Venus. There are also people that visited our Earth from Venus, but I'm going to talk about this later, because my own experience was either with Pleiadians or Andromedans. The first what comes to my mind is Pleiadians. And now I know, I think they invited me maybe because my dad was working for the secret space program on Soviet Union, and he was not at this time, but before, in 1970s, he was working as a top secret scientist and creating catalysts for the spaceships, for the Sputnik, and for the rockets. And he was creating catalysts for the fuel to make them to fly in accelerating mode, like we need rockets on Sputnik. So my dad was involved in secret space program of Soviet Union. Maybe this why they contacted me after that in like 14 years later, which could be. Or maybe because of my own qualities, like I'm kind of flattered and I'm kind of feeling special that they contacted me. But I am sure there are millions of people who they contacted, but they couldn't remember their dreams. Remember, I only remember my dream 2 years ago. It came back to me away because it was unconscious obsession with extraterrestrial subject. I was writing a book about extraterrestrial. I never could finish it, but I was writing this book for almost for like 5 years, from 2010 to 2015. My book in few chapters. I still have it. I didn't release it yet. It was fantasy book. I was dreaming. I was obsessed with them. And I met some bloggers and some people who talk about that. I visited conference of Stephen Greer in Petaluma in 2019. After that, I think memories came back to me because they decided that I deserve, or maybe because it clicked, because I connected to society which is interested in this subject. So I'm very excited to announce here that I met Pleiadians in my dream. And actually, when I asked David Willcock during his Ascension Mystery School class about my ET contact with Pleiadians, he told this was not a dream. This was a real contact. So he confirmed that it wasn't in my sleep, because my astral body was traveling there. It was a real visit. It was a real contact. So David Willcock confirmed that I had a real contact with ETs, extraterrestrials from Pleiades. He listened to my story and he confirmed about that. That's all for today. Bye-bye.